My name is Mike Fisher. I'm the director of the British Association of Anger Management, the author of Beating Anger, and the author of Mindfulness and the Art of Managing Anger, Clearing the Red Mists. This brief introduction video is really designed to give the viewers some background to why I wrote the book. It's a short but interesting story. I wrote my first book in 2005, which has done extremely well, to the point that it's actually recognized by the Times newspaper as one of the 15 top or best-selling self-help books on the market today, which you can imagine from my perspective is fantastic. I want to make sure that my second book, Mindfulness and the Art of Managing Anger, does exactly the same thing. An organization called Ivy Press, a publishing house in Lewes, close to where I live in East Grinstead in the UK, invited me to write a book on the distinction and understanding of mindfulness within the context of anger management. A vast amount of books have been written on the subject of mindfulness, specifically related to stress and stress management, but there are very few books on the market specifically related to mindfulness and anger management. And a lot of my recent work, when I say recent, I'm actually talking about over the last 2 to 3 years, has been really focusing much deeper into this notion of mindfulness, what it means to be present, what it means to let go of our attachments. And thematically, my focus has been in the programs that I deliver on, where I talk about this notion of delaying gratification and this notion of sitting in the discomfort of our feelings. And if you think about it from the perspective of mindfulness, that's where mindfulness becomes very appropriate and possibly a way in to making sense of how you can use mindfulness in the context of anger management. And so that was the roots of exploring this book and writing about this book. What I do have to say is that even though I was the author of the original material, the editor, Manuela Viena, put a lot of her time and a lot of her energy into actually delivering on the book and helping to make sense of my kind of genius craziness. And I think between the two of us, we've produced a fairly successful book. One of the reasons that I'm actually doing this video is because recently it was reviewed by Therapy Today, which is a journal that's put out by the British Association of Counselling and Psychotherapy. And I got a fairly positive review, which I'm very excited about. I was a bit anxious that the review I would get would kind of knock the book. It hasn't knocked the book, and it's praising me in the ways of how I've brought myself to the conversation, recognizing how difficult it is to be mindful, how difficult it is to be present, how difficult it is to get into the practice of meditation, which takes a huge amount of discipline and focus and, of course, integrity. And so for me, the journey of writing the book has been very exciting, simply because of the strands of the work that I've been doing, as I said, between the last 2 to 3 years, and actually kind of consolidating them in a piece of literature which I think has a lot of weight, or bears a lot of weight on the subject matter, as well as supporting people in taking the next step into managing anger. And I know for a fact that according to the Buddhists, they say that anger is the last outpost, meaning it's the last feeling to be dealt with. And the reason I know that as a fact is because we've had so many people who are trained practitioners of mindfulness and people who do meditate and have meditated for many years actually find that one of the most challenging feelings to integrate and deal with is anger. So it would make a lot of sense to me that marrying mindfulness with anger and anger management can potentially be a transformative tool. I've done work in mindfulness and stress management, and I found that useful, in fact, very useful. And so the challenge, of course, was how do I bring that second strand in, anger and mindfulness. If you are interested in reading the book, you can access the book via Amazon, or you can call our office directly. The information is at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the book as much as I enjoyed writing it. And if you are willing to give me some feedback, I'm always open to feedback. You'll see my email address and my telephone number at the end of this video. Thanks very much for listening.